And I've tweeted about these guys many times through the years.
They were great separately, but together they were the greatest ever.
The greatest broadcasting duo of all time. And I don't even know who you could make a really good argument for. It's that chemistry. There was something about the way that they played off of each other. It was like peanut butter and jelly. From CBS to Fox, and it was the sound of Sunday afternoons. Pat Summerall I can still hear in my mind. The greatest broadcasting duo of all time in any sport. And for me personally, that is the case. They are number one on the list, and I don't even know who you could make a really good argument for to be second on that list. And I've tweeted about these guys many times through the years. They were the soundtrack of our youth. If you are a Gen X kid, hell, probably if you're a millennial. I haven't gotten my generational time charts out, but the duo of Summerall and Madden lasted for a long time, from CBS to Fox, and it was the sound of Sunday afternoons. And what a combination they were. What an unlikely combination Pat Summerall and John Madden were. And I've tweeted this before many times, but take a look at it. This is one of my favorite tweets. People ask me a lot, what are your favorite Super 70 sports tweets? This one's probably top 10 for me. Tweeted simply, the guy who was drunk sounded sober, and the guy who was sober sounded drunk, and it was perfect. It was perfect like that. And not to make light of Pat Summerall's drinking problems, but John Madden was the guy who sounded like he'd been overserved, and Pat Summerall could have a blood alcohol level of legally dead, and he would still sound more eloquent and calm than 99% of the population. And it worked beautifully together. Summerall, of course, the pro's pro, a former NFL player himself, who became a broadcaster and became so good at broadcasting that it's almost easy to forget that he was a jock, because the guy was an intellectual. Madden, it was always easy to remember that he was a jock. And it doesn't get said enough what a great coach John Madden was. I want you to take a look at this. Here's another Super 70s tweet. And some people don't know this, but everybody should know this. The highest winning percentage of any NFL coach ever, with at least 100 games coached in the league, John fucking Madden, 759. Yeah, that's right. He won over 3 out of every 4 games that he coached in the NFL. And obviously, Super Bowl champions as well with the Oakland Raiders. So the resume is there. And then you listen to the guy, boom, and the telestrator. And he sounded like, your uncle at Thanksgiving. And he was your uncle at Thanksgiving. He was having the turducken. I didn't know what turducken was before I heard of John Madden. Thank you for that, among other things, Coach. And we remember the beer commercials. If you're of a certain age, everything about John Madden he was a larger than life character. He was a cartoon. He didn't like to fly, so he drove a bus everywhere. The Madden Cruiser became a thing, and somehow it seemed normal because it was John Madden. You're just like, John Madden doesn't like to fly, so he's going to ride a bus all over the country. He was a goodwill ambassador for football. And Pat Summerall, meanwhile, Pat Summerall I can still hear in my mind. Take a look at this graphic. And if you're old enough to remember, you know exactly how that sounded. He would talk about what was coming up after the game, except on the West Coast. Remember that? There was always except on the West Coast. Tonight on CBS, Mike Wallace exposes some kind of corruption on 60 Minutes, followed by murder. She wrote. And the CBS Sunday Movie Tonight, Clark Gable and whatever in Gone with the Wind. This pauses would get longer and longer and longer. It began, he honored that comma. That's how you know that Pat Summerall was a man of letters. He understood what a fucking comma meant, and he respected it. Angela Lansbury, he will forever, in my mind, be associated with Angela Lansbury. I miss Pat Summerall. And Pat Summerall was good covering other sports as well. He was CBS's golf guy, among other things. So he was sort of a Swiss Army knife in terms of the ability that he had to cover various different sports effectively. Now, one sport there that you don't see a ball for, and I don't think he ever covered it, although I got to believe that he was out there doing this back in the day because everybody did. It was such a big part of American society in the day, was bowling. And bowling is the Super 70 Sports theme of the day. And I talk about what a great duo John Madden and Pat Summerall were. I'm going to show you a couple of different duos here. Duos that are about ready to take to the lanes. And here's one of my favorites. When it comes to bowling tandems, can't we all agree that Bob Newhart and George Foreman are the standard by which all others shall be judged? I think of great bowling. I think of Earl Anthony. I think of Dick Weber. I think of Walter Ray Williams. I think of Mark Roth. And then I think of Bob Newhart and George Foreman. And if you want this to get even weirder, I know who they were bowling that day. There used to be a celebrity bowling show back in the 70s. Some of you will remember it. They were bowling against Don Adams and Roy Rogers. And they lost 170 to 168. And I know this because I paid for that episode and I watched it one time. Because when you find out that Don Adams and Roy Rogers are bowling Bob Newhart and George Foreman, if you have a soul, you need to know how that played out. And that show had a lot of good combinations. How about this combination? Here's another duo ready to go out to the lanes. Let me tell you something. 10 pins. They were going out clubbing after this. They were looking for 10s. These guys. Robert Culp and the great Richard Dawson. You may be cool, but you'll never be Robert Culp and Richard Dawson about to dominate at bowling cool. Look at these guys. Culp's wearing the Canadian tuxedo there. Dawson just looks like he's ready to go. You know Richard Dawson, Dickie Dawson was always ready to go. So we're going to be talking about bowling today, and we've been talking about duos in this program. I guess that's the other theme. We've got the duo of Madden and Summerall. We got the duos of Newhart and Foreman and Culp and Dawson. How about the duo of two guys who are joined in our historical estimations of their greatness? Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes is 30 years old today. Happy birthday to Patrick Mahomes. He celebrates his 30th birthday on a 3-game NFL losing streak for the first time in his illustrious career. And we thought it might be fun to take a look here at this tweet. Amare, somebody or another, shouting you out for it, who helpfully provides us with the career statistics of Tom Brady at age 30 and the career statistics of Patrick Mahomes at age 30. And as you look at it statistically, you can go down the line there. Mahomes is basically better in every statistical category. Now, I don't think that that's everything. Tom Brady, who is a modern player, his career started, just right after the turn of the century. So I don't know that things were quite as favorable for him in terms of a statistical environment. But when you put them side by side and you look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers, his numbers are good. The number that matters the most is that they're 3-3 on Super Bowls. The hard part is getting 4 after you turn 30. That's the thing. There's a lot of guys throughout history that are on paces. And then those paces have a way of not keeping up, because how can you keep up the pace that Patrick Mahomes has set? Tom Brady somehow found a way to do that. If Patrick Mahomes can carry this level of performance to the age of 40, past the age of 40, we had Tom Brady out there winning Super Bowls past the age of 40. Then we'll have a conversation about who the greatest of all time is. Patrick Mahomes, I've still got him behind Joe Montana at this point. At least Joe Montana. He's got to clear that hurdle before he gets to Tom Brady. But it's food for thought when you take a look at just how outstanding Patrick Mahomes truly has been in his career. This episode of the Ricky Cobb Show, my friends, is brought to you by Prize Picks. You know, you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And the nice thing is the folks at Prize Picks make it easy for you to be right with some of the selections that they have. In fact, the max discount is probably my favorite thing about playing Prize Picks. I have used it to profitable effect twice already this season, and this coming NFL Week 3, Patrick Mahomes has a more or less of just 0.5. Meaning that if you use Patrick Mahomes as one of your picks, all he has to do is throw for 1 yard or more, and you're going to be correct on that one. So, highly recommend that you take advantage of Patrick Mahomes this week. Remember, it's this Sunday only that you're going to be able to take advantage of this offer. And as I said, I've done it twice. I did it with Dak Prescott. I did it with Travis Kelce. That 0.5 is real friendly. So I would say take advantage of it. And use Prize Picks as what it is, which is the best way to win cash this football season. Who's going to go off? Who's not going to go off? You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn it into cash all season long on Prize Picks. It's the best place to win cash when you're watching sports. So join millions of other users and sign up today. And when you do, the wise thing to do is use my code Ricky. When you use Ricky, you're going to get $50 in free lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. It's as simple as that. My code Ricky, that's R-I-C-K-Y. It's going to get you $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And in fact, when those picks hit, sometimes I think it feels great to be right. Speaking of right, Philly's Karen will snatch a home run ball right out of your child's hands, because she doesn't give a fuck. We all know about her. And if this is any indication, these Phillies fans going to the game there, I don't know, I thought that was Phil Donahue for a second there on the left, asking somebody a probing question back in 1988. Those guys are actually Phillies Karen out at the ballpark, Citizens Bank, or was this in Los Angeles? I don't know. They may have been in Los Angeles there, but they're decked out in Philadelphia's most famous fans gear there. And if this is any indication, we might be seeing some Phillies Karens coming out at Halloween. You think Phillies Karen would trick or treat? Or is it just more like treats or I demand treats? I deserve treats. She's not even going to have to be bothered to trick you. She's above it all. Remember, she's the most important person in the stadium, Phillies Karen. But you know, Phillies Karen's not going to beg for a baseball, even if you got it fair and square. But the ladies back in the 1970s, I can assure you, were begging for the attention of these sweet bastards. Have a look at this murderer's row of masculinity. The 1978 American Bowling Congress Championships. Look at these motherfuckers. Be very surprised if they were able to focus on the task at hand as the chick magnets that they obviously were. And I weep for the fact that fashion in this country has gone so far downhill that I presumably will never get the opportunity to wear a shirt like those three guys in the middle. I don't know why the other two guys, they must have not gotten the washed out, semi-tie-dyed pink shirt memo, as they're not joining it. Some good hair there as well in that photograph. And let me go to a man now who knows a little bit something about ladies begging for his attention. I speak, of course, of the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee. He is, of course, Ronnie T-Shirts. And Ronnie, would you give a Phillies Karen on your doorstep on October 31st, a mini Snickers bar?
Oh yeah, that's a great costume. Like I don't have to like who they're depicting to acknowledge the humor. So yeah, no, I might give her a little bit more. I mean, I only have a bite-sized Snicker. I don't have a full-size Snicker. I have a bite-sized Snicker.
You were giving
No,
giving people the mini Snickers back in Columbus, Ohio in the 80s. It's what I hear. Start listening to that Wink Martindale Gettysburg Address on vinyl. That's the panty dropper right there. We all know it. Ron, how about, I want you to look at this. Kyler Murray, who you and I have talked about before in the past. We dedicated an episode to Kyler Murray on the old Ricky Cobb Show podcast.
We sure did.
Super sky point to that one. We know Kyler Murray he doesn't like doing his homework sometimes, but
likes video games.
I don't know, bro. Maybe he's just an idiot. Take a look at this.
Maybe
Kyler Murray posing with a pit bull while wearing a Michael Vick jersey. I think that's a Michael Vick.
It's a Virginia Tech. Yeah, it's a Virginia Tech. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So look, I mean, I didn't think on today's show we would be opening up the can of worms that is what Michael Vick had to deal with dog fighting and being shamed and shunned from the league and then coming back and ultimately being accepted again. And for the most part, it seems like people have forgotten. Going to jail is an important part of that picture. Thank you, Ron. Why Kyler Murray would choose to do this? Any theories other than idiot?
He's dumb. Yeah, I was going to say he's dumb. I mean, there's no chance
not cute,
that
it's not funny.
No, there's
it's
no
not
chance
make people
that
like you.
Yeah, I can't believe that he was doing this to make some sort of a statement. I just think that I just don't think he's very smart. I mean, gosh, maybe he's so young.
But I mean,
maybe he's so young he didn't even know. You
gotta be smart to be an NFL quarterback, right? I mean,
you got to be really smart.
Run an NFL offense and be a dumbass, can you?
Yeah, you got to be insanely smart.
So what's his excuse? I mean, I know there are different kinds of intelligence.
Correct.
You know, some people are good. Some people are book smart and street stupid, and other people are street smart and they're not as educated. But I mean, this guy went to college. He was a high performing baseball player as well. I don't really want to believe that Kyler Murray is an idiot, but I'm trying to give him some bit. I mean, saying he's an idiot is the nicest thing that you can say about this, because otherwise, what kind of a fucking asshole are you? That's the other. That's the other possibility here.
I would also guess that Michael Vick can't be too happy about this. Like, this is,
yeah, this guy's rehabbed his image for years and years and years now.
Yeah, and
nobody's talking about it anymore. And then this motherfucker shows up. It just tries to pick the scab off of that.
Yeah.
If I'm Michael Vick, I'd be giving him the Jonah Hill gif, just
right.
bro, not good. Let's not do this. All right, Ron, let's get on to happier things. Today's theme is bowling. So we're going to go through some of the Super 70s sports greatest hits that, bowling is the theme that runs through it. We're not just talking about bowling. Super 70s is not just about the topic at hand. It's about the conversation that it opens up, right? It's an entry point to something more, which is, I think, as much as anything, is why the account is popular. So here's one for you, Ron. Nothing says, I just bowled a 130, and it's time for a trip to flavor country now, quite like this sweet bastard. Have a look at that. These cigarette machines used to be everywhere, Ron. They used to be fucking everywhere. I remember there was one in the local Dairy Queen. You go to the Cave City Dairy Queen, and you get, maybe get yourself a pork fritter, maybe get yourself a burger and fries, then get yourself a dilly bar, maybe a peanut buster parfait. I'm going back pre-Blizzard days. I don't even know if they had Blizzard.
Dip. What are they? What's the dip
and
called?
And then you go up to the front. A dipped cone, Ron?
I guess. I don't know. I didn't know if it had a special name.
I don't know. I don't think so. But then you could, chunk yourself a pack of Pall Malls after that, right there before you left the Dairy Queen.
Nice little menthol.
And
right
they were
after
in
that
bowling
delicious
alleys
meal.
everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Thick smoke in the air. You go home smelling like smoke.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
It's a glorious time to be alive.
Anytime my friends and I went to the bowling alley when we were in high school, and it's funny because we actually played pool more than we bowled because they had a bunch of pool tables. But my God, did we smell like cigarettes when we came home? Oh, it was awful. Absolutely awful.
Saturated.
Oh,
saturated your clothing.
Yeah.
And it was normal. You didn't even think anything of it. That's just what happens when you go out. I never came home and I was like, oh, gross, cigarette, because I wasn't a smoker. But, you just accept it. I'm going out on a Friday night. I'm going out on a Saturday night. There's a high probability that I'm going to go home smelling like an ashtray.
I mean, you accepted it, but it was still gross.
The way it was.
It was still gross. I mean, I accepted it, but it was still gross. I mean, it's part of the payment for going out, but it was gross.
I suppose so. I don't know. Occasionally, just hold it up to your mouth and inhale it. It wasn't always bad. I don't mind the smell of a cigarette once in a while, Ron. I don't smoke tobacco, but, anyway. Take a look at this, Ron. We were looking yesterday at the greatest Wheel of Fortune cast ever, and it happened to include Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Al
Venn diagram?
He turns up today, yeah. And I just simply said, don't you ever fucking tell me that the United States doesn't produce the greatest bowlers. We're dominant. Where are the great international bowlers? I don't think anybody that I name checked at the beginning of the program wasn't a proud American. And here we are, Weird Al, Pee Wee Herman, and Little Steven right there. And Little Steven retweeted this one time and commented on it, I believe, when I tweeted it out. This one I probably tweeted a couple of times through the years, and I don't know where they are. I don't know what this event is, and as with a lot of weird Super 70s photos, I'm kind of happy not to know because I can just imagine it in my mind however I want, which is what tends to make me happiest. Ron, there's Kip Dynamite showing up here. Did you ever see Napoleon Dynamite?
I've seen it once.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Ron, we talk about posters on our bedroom wall. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October himself, responded to the tweet that I did about childhood posters, putting up a picture of the same Reggie poster that I had on my bedroom wall when I was a kid. And he was talking about the posters that he had when he was a kid. I tweeted a couple of days ago about, who was your crush when you were 13 years old? And I put up a poster of Christy Brinkley, which happened to be on my wall when I was growing up. Ron, what kind of kids had bowling posters on their walls? Because Nike was making them. Have a look at this motherfucker, Ron. That's Marshall Holman right there. I tweeted out simply, bowling posters aren't a great idea. They're the best idea. They're not just a regular great idea. They're the greatest idea that anyone's ever had. And you can't see the rest of it here, but he's standing upon, the debris that's left from him apparently bowling the most dominant 300 in the history of the sport. Ron,
I mean,
what do you think became of the kids who had Marshall Holman over their bed back years ago?
I imagine they're still living in that same room in the same house.
They're saying, Mom, I don't have any clean underwear, Mom. I don't know. I mean, look, everybody's different. Some people have Christy Brinkley and Reggie Jackson on the bedroom wall, and some people have Marshall Holman. I don't know what else would pair with that, but I do know this,
maybe
Ron.
Was just a poster. Maybe this was just a poster for the ladies.
Well,
I mean, look at that guy.
That's blue steel, isn't it? Isn't that in Zoolander? Isn't that the look that Ben Stiller called blue steel? Look at that. Is he trying to fuck us, Ron? Look at
He's
him. Is that the look that you
somebody.
gave back in the
Well, that's
1980s before Doves cried? Look at that.
No, that's why I think maybe this was a poster for the ladies because got them all tingly.
Somebody's getting a gift basket. Somebody's getting the Derek Jeter gift basket the next day when Marshall Holman gives you that look.
I mean, he's just
look at that. I think. Listen, I hope that there aren't a lot of women watching this program today because I guarantee you that at least 20% of them just ovulated.
Oh. I mean, now the good thing is our audience might be a little bit older, so they could be barren at this point. They at least felt some tingles.
Yes. Yeah, they felt some tingles. There was some. There it is. There's blue steel. some dust. Some dust moved around for some people when they saw that Marshall Holman. Here's some. Ronnie, some dust moved around every time this motherfucker showed up, whether he was coming to a bowling alley or not. Take a look at this. And my favorite thing about this is he comes in, he destroys the fucking bowling alley, somehow manages to not knock down all the pins. Look at the spare that he just left somebody. Well, good fucking luck picking that one up. You can't at least knock all the pins down for me when you come showing up unannounced?
Do better.
Oh, yeah.
Kool-Aid. Do better, Kool-Aid man.
Do you think that he was ever sued? Was there ever any type of class act? Could you bring like a group lawsuit against him? I mean, I can't even imagine the volume of property damage that was done in the 70s to the mid 80s alone, Ron.
Could sue anybody for anything, whether you win or not. You
got to have a lawyer that's going to represent all of these people. The bowling alley, your parents' fence in the backyard, because he heard some kids say they were thirsty at a birthday party. He just decides, you know what? I'm just going to barrel through that picket fence. I'm going to deliver you some refreshment. Well, Ron, I don't have a picket fence to barrel through, but I'm about ready to deliver refreshment to the masses because it's time for America's Poll of the Day, and let's go to it now at Super 70 Sports on X, where the eagle flies high and occasionally drops down to a lower altitude to extend to us 4 pieces of goodness. And for a second there, we went into the that was like how
reveal.
That was how Justin Fields feels like when he snaps the ball, Ron. That rush is coming quick. I'd better get rid of it. What am I going to do? All right. So the Eagle has brought us 4 delicious options today, Ron, and they are. And this is a 50-50 poll. I already had 3 out of 4 written. You sent me 4. I just put on my Grandpa Munster cap, put them in a cauldron, and stirred them up together. And so this one is half you and half me. And I actually think that it might end up being fairly competitive. We'll find out. We begin with 80s rap. So, Grandmaster Flash, Curtis Blow. Of course, we'll talk about others, I'm sure. This is Ronnie's area of expertise. Nerf football, which was a staple for so many of us back in the day. Third, Spencer's Gifts. Just in case you want a dildo and a marijuana leaf ashtray on your way out of the mall. They've got you covered. And then finally, high in potassium, Ron. Bananas is the 4th option. Break it down for me as only you can.
Well, my shirt is probably going to give away who I'm going to vote for, Ricky.
Yeah, you are dressed for the occasion, aren't you?
So, we're talking LL Cool J. We're talking the Beastie Boys. Run DMC, EPMD, Eric B. Rakim, Rob Bass, and DJ Easy Rock. I mean, I could just keep going on.
Joy and pain. Remember that one? Remember Joy and Pain?
Absolutely.
Like sunshine and rain. Yeah.
Yep. But you're right. Curtis Blow. Yep. These are the Braves.
Did you mention KRS-One yet?
Oh, look at you going deep. Boogie Down Bronx.
Huh?
I didn't.
Yeah,
I did.
I'm just
Public
saying.
Enemy.
Right.
Public Enemy.
I had going back to Cali in last week's basement boombox.
Cali. I'm going back to
Cali. There's another one.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, shit. You're getting me ready to vote for 80s rap now.
I mean, 80s rap is, I mean, 80s rap is up there with 80s boxing, man. Just put those two together and I'm good. Um, Nerf football, I mean, yeah. I mean, how many Nerf footballs and how many Kmart style foam footballs have I had? I mean, I've had a million, right? I've had every variation.
Dogs ate
Oh yeah.
78% of them. Took a chunk out. We've all had that situation where a dog has taken a chunk out of a Nerf football. At least if you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. And you go out and you try to play with it anyway, and you try to determine if it's still airworthy. How bad did Fido destroy the aerodynamics of this piece of foam? You know, you could get by with like a couple of small bites taken out of it, but at a certain point, it was rendered useless, Ryan.
Yep. Yeah, Spencer's
How you feel about
gifts,
Spencer's gifts?
dude, that just it always felt when you went in there like you were getting away with something. You were doing something you shouldn't. You're seeing butt plugs and anal beads and AC/DC t-shirts and incense and all kinds of other, I don't know, fart spray. Like, my God, it just felt like the wrongest place to be. Like, man, my mom and dad better not find out I was in there.
Maybe a greeting card with a guy and a G-string on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, edible
because
undies.
That's the kind of thing.
Edible undies.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I learned a lot.
2-for-1 undies.
Yeah. Like, I learned a lot.
There would be like the 2-for-1 pair. You could wear them at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a coming of age store, right? Like you're 14 and you go in there and you're like, what's this thing for? And, your friend's like, oh, those are anal beads. And you're like, what? And then he explains to you, like, I was like, okay.
Go back to the poster. Remember the poster area?
The black light
posters. Yes.
Black light posters.
Yes. Yep. That and then just random, almost naked women.
Titty
maybe
mugs.
Kurt Cobain.
Maybe like a titty mug.
Yeah. Pick up a titty mug on the way out. Go to Summerall. You're on your way out. You're like, I don't know. I wasn't planning to buy a titty mug today, but
it spoke to me.
When in Rome.
It spoke to me. Yeah, spoke to me.
It practically put itself into my hands.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of curved yellow fruit, Ricky. Big fan. I like to eat them plain. I like banana bread. I like banana pudding. Love banana pudding. Lori and I, on our way back from the concert Friday night, had a barbecue sandwich and got a banana pudding at 12:15 in the morning. Tell you what, it was delicious.
Man, you do love it. All right, well let's bring in
Bananas Foster. Can I keep going
and get his input on this? I think we've covered your love of bananas probably adequately at this point.
80s
let's bring
rap
in Kid Clover
bananas
here. I got a feeling that Tim might be an 80s rap guy as well, but I'll let Tim tell us that. How do you stack them today?
We're Kid and Clover doing it all over. Back to the basics, a heavy bass line, some hip hop rhymes. That's more powerful than a snorted line. That's what I got for you, dude. Sorry, I'm just working on my backdrop. The Cubs just clinched the postseason, Ricky. Fuck, man. We got good news finally today. Listen, man, 80s rap.
Something
I have
in this town.
Yeah, man. It's my backdrop here. I'm working on a graphic for you as well. Yeah, man, 80s rap. Congrats to the Cubbies. Maybe we'll get back out there, beat the Pirates this afternoon. Listen, 80s rap. It's funny, Ron. I struggled with this one. By far the best. KRS-One. My Philosophy. Go down the list. I heard you mention Eric B. and Rakim. Yeah. The thing for me with 80s rap.
Rap.
I don't know, man. Like, I can only get through like 15 or 20 minutes of it. A couple of songs. I don't know. Sets of Sonic was great. Like, I think musically it was definitely bold, new, and original. I went with Nerf today only because I feel like Nerf, pound for pound, in different phases of my life has always been there. The new ones feel super light to me. I don't know if it's because it's made in China or what, but this is a very good poll. Spencer's Gifts, admittedly, had to Google it. Glad my wife wasn't around. And I was
Tim's trying to spice up the bedroom.
I wasn't sure if bananas and if Ricky, if your brain was in the same place there when you did Spencer's and bananas, but banana hammocks here.
All right. I'm also okay. I'm a little surprised. God, I have a lot of good Nerf football memories. I'm going to vote for 80s rap just off of License to Ill and Paul's Boutique.
Yep.
If nothing else, because at the end of the day, now Nerf Turbo football was a game changer. I'm thinking if I'm to include the Nerf Turbo football into this, then maybe it's a little different discussion. But those original Nerf balls, I don't know, man. The wind would knock them down. You were usually better off finding a leather
waterlogged
somewhere. Yeah, you were better. So I'm going to vote for 80s rap as well, with all apologies to Spencer's Gift and all of the moments it gave me of feeling like I was doing something I wasn't supposed to. Hell, I'm 54. I still feel like I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do.
So I'm not trying to
I go to that back section.
Yeah.
Sir, can I help you with a butt plug?
It still feels a little shady.
Sounds like a good clash of. Hey, listen, I thought Beasties were more 90s though. Were they not?
No. Are you serious? License to Ill came out in 1986.
They did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of stuff in the 90s.
License to Ill came out in 86, and they were way more rap.
Paul's Boutique came out in 89. If Paul's Boutique had come out in 90, I would say 90s Beastie Boys, but
yeah, you're right. I got a good Beastie Boys story for you later on. Cookie Puss. I got a connection to that song. That was the Carvel Cookie Puss thing. But yeah, we could fire it if we haven't already. Sorry, I've just been looking at a couple different things here. Yeah, 80s rap. I don't know, man.
Yeah, let's light the candle.
I'm disappointed in the audience today, to be honest with you.
I'm so disappointed, Tim.
Yeah, big time.
I don't even know who they are.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Man, that's 3 in a row that have gone over 50 this week. So, I mean, at least we're going to find out.
You got to do Seinfeld tomorrow. You have to put Seinfeld in tomorrow because nothing else is going to have a chance.
Look at that. 80s rap and Spencer's Get Bananas there. Obviously, we finally found the one food that my audience doesn't want to inhale, and it's the healthiest thing probably that we've ever had on the program. Bananas are my favorite fruit.
Such a versatile.
It's my favorite fruit, Ron.
You know why?
To eat in its fruit form.
I can tell you why. Because when you get an apple or a plum or an orange, you never know if it's going to taste like an apple, an orange, or a plum. But when you get a banana, it always tastes like a banana. Every single time.
It's like pizza and sex. Even a bad banana.
Team banana is
still pretty good. All right. So let's get to this real quickly here. The Tush Push. Everybody, speaking of where people like to put bananas, guys, let's talk about the Tush Push. The controversy seems like it's raging again.
Thank you.
More than it has in a while. We had the off-season vote. We thought maybe it was going to get voted out. Turns out the Tush Push made it. And everybody's bitching about it again. At this point, Ron, I feel like once this season's over, maybe it's time to get rid of it. But let's listen to somebody who is certainly more informed than I am and more informed than pretty much everybody in our society on this topic. Former Eagles center, Jason Kelce.
I get that there's like a hair of a second early on some of these. Some of them are legitimate false starts. Some of them I feel like
in the room. Guess is
well
in the
within
room.
the
So out of this,
parameters of any other short yardage play.
The
The false start thing, that thing is going to happen whether it's a tush push or a regular quarterback sneak. Guards are going to be trying to tie him at the snap. Good guards on short yardage runs are going to be trying to tie him at the snap. Like that's how, if you're late, you're going to be screwed. So it's not like they're trying to false start.
All right, look, Ron, here's where I'm at. I agreed with you. Our position was don't penalize. I don't like the play. My position at least was, I won't put words in your mouth. You can tell me what your thoughts are in 1 second. My position was, I don't like the play, but if it's so easy to do, then everybody would be doing it. Why are we going to penalize the Philadelphia Eagles? Because they've found something they can execute that other teams apparently cannot. We're at the point now where I'm just tired of hearing about it. I could even see a little bit in Jason Kelce, some fatigue over this topic, I think, if I'm reading him right. I think that when this season is over, if we're still going on about it, it's probably time just to get rid of the play, because we're talking about success around the margins. I mean, the Eagles are going to be able to convert on 4th and 1, even without tush pushing, at a rate that's probably going to be very close to what they do now anyway. So I just don't know if it's worth the headache anymore.
Yeah, at first they tried to come at us with, "Oh, it's for, we're concerned about player health." Like, oh, shut up! Nobody ever got hurt doing the tush push. The one thing about it is it's hard to spot the ball, right? Like, it is really hard to spot the ball, but it's going to be hard to spot the ball just on a conventional quarterback sneak potentially. But I don't know. They were showing some close-ups. I think was it the Eagles? It was the Eagles game. Dude, they were jumping. They weren't just doing a split second. They were doing like a second, it felt like. So I really don't know. I mean, I don't really care either way. But I don't know how they're going to legislate what's a tush push, and like there's probably something in between a tush push and a quarterback sneak. And like where's the line? Where's the line going to be?
We just need to go back to good old-fashioned quarterback sneaks. Just do it the way that Terry Bradshaw did it.
Yeah.
Damn
well,
it, is what I say.
Jalen Hurts can squat 9,000 pounds. He's going to be fine, right? Josh Allen's going to be fine. So who knows, Ricky?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kyler Murray might not be so fine, but they're not pushing his tush anyway. Right. All right, we're going to take it to a break now. And when we come back, very excited because the author of a new book about Pat Summerall and John Madden, Rich Podolsky, is going to join me. And we're going to go behind the scenes on what that relationship was really like and get into some things that you just might not know. So stick around. It all happens straight ahead right here, right after this on The Ricky Cobb Show. And welcome back to the program, my friends, here on this Wednesday in Chicago. If you were with us at the top of the program, I mentioned my love and affection for the broadcasting duo of Pat Summerall and John Madden. I think, for my money, they're the greatest to ever do it. I don't think, just in the sport of football, no, in all sports, I don't think we've ever seen a better, more instantly identifiable, likable, quality pair in the history of sports broadcasting. And I'm so happy to welcome to the show today my guest, who has just dropped a brand new book. It is called Madden and Summerall, How They Revolutionized NFL Broadcasting. My great pleasure to welcome to the program the author, Rich Podolsky. Rich, how are you?
Hey, my pleasure to be with you. Let's talk about two of the greatest broadcasters of all time. As I say in the cover of the book, they were great separately, but together they were the greatest ever.
That's it, right? It's that chemistry. There was something about the way that they played off of each other. It was like peanut butter and jelly, these guys. And intuitively, it might not have seemed like it was going to be such a great pairing. It's like we mix these elements from the periodic table and somehow they fell into place perfectly. Rich, tell me how it came to happen. What is the background that allowed for this to be suggested and for those guys to end up in a booth together in the first place?
Well, Summerall had been broadcasting for CBS TV since 1962. Prior to that, he was a morning radio host, believe it or not, doing weather and traffic and all that kind of stuff, not just sports. He also did celebrity interviews. And when he did commercials on that show, he got an awful big chunk of money. He was making close to $500,000 a year doing that show for CBS in the morning until the CBS radio network decided to pull the plug and turn it into all news all the time. That's when he switched to TV. And he was a Renaissance guy. He was the first to go from the field to the booth as an analyst, and then 12 years later to become a play-by-play broadcaster and one of the best in the business when he was paired with Tom Brookshire. Unfortunately, they got in too much trouble before and after the games. Summerall and Brookshire, they started with their margaritas as soon as they hit the visiting cities, and they never stopped. And their reputation caused the new president of CBS to separate them, and they were looking for a new A team in 1981. And John Madden had just started 2 years before that in the broadcasting end. He was a great coach for 10 years, but bleeding ulcers caused him to give it up. And he decided to take an offer from CBS in 1979 to do 4 or 5 games. He first told the agent, I don't think I want to do it. I think those TV guys are a bunch of hairdos, and they don't really do their research, and I don't want to be lumped in with them. And the agent wisely said to him, if you wait a couple of years, they might not want you at that point, and you'll be out of luck. So he took the chance, and he did the 4 or 5 games, accepted them. And he wasn't very good at all the first year. In fact, there were several executives who wanted to get him fired. But somehow or other, a couple of big shots stood up for him and said, let's give him another chance. In 1980, finally, they paired him with just Gary Bender doing play-by-play. Previously, he had been with 4 different play-by-play guys and 4 different directors and producers. He couldn't get any kind of rhythm going that way. With Bender, he improved, but he wasn't the John Madden we all knew and loved. But the new president of CBS Sports, a guy named Van Gordon Sauter, he loved John Madden because he had started to see him on the Miller Lite commercials that started running that year. And when I asked him why he decided Madden was the guy, he said, oh, yeah, he's the guy. I said, well, did you ever see any of his 4 or 5 games? And he said, no, they didn't come back to New York, those games. I said, well, how did you know he was the guy? He said, I watched him 30 seconds at a time, and he was like a raconteur. He could entertain anybody. And I don't know about you, but I want to be the guy having a beer next to him in a bar watching the game. So that's how John Madden kind of saved his job and became the number 1 guy. And when they finally decided to pair him with Pat Summerall, it was a big controversy at the time because all the executives wanted Summerall. They thought he was a perfect match for Madden because Summerall was a minimalist. He really valued words, and Madden liked to spin his stories, and he could talk forever. So Summerall was the perfect guy to get him in and get him out. But the boss, Van Sauter, wanted Vince Scully, who was the number 2 play-by-play guy at CBS at the time, the great Dodger broadcaster. And he thought Scully was an elegant broadcaster. Well, he was, but he liked to work alone. He didn't even need an analyst doing Dodgers games. And the new producer, Terry O'Neill, running NFL football for CBS, said that the viewer would be wrung out by halftime if it was Scully and Madden because they'd be fighting each other for airtime. So that's how Summerall and Madden were first put together. And like you said, it was like peanut butter and jelly meeting for the first time. They, right from the get-go, they were great together. They were finishing each other's sentences. They were telling jokes. They were having a grand time in the booth, and Madden relaxed, and he started to become the guy we all knew with the sound effects. And then that year also they had the telestrator as part of CBS's equipment. They called it the CBS chalkboard, and that was exactly what Madden needed to be the guy that we all knew. He always complained that there were 4-on-4 on the television screen, and you could never see 11 on 11. Well, the telestrator allowed him to do that. And he could diagram plays and why they worked and have fun with it. And especially when there were 12 men on the field, he'd count them on the screen. And it was kind of fun and hysterical. And by the end of 1981, I think America realized they were by far the best NFL team that they had ever heard.
Did those guys know each other very well at all before they got paired? And it sounds like, Rich, that they hit it off right from the get-go. I know that there's, it takes a little time to find your rhythm as a broadcast duo, but what was their relationship like behind the scenes through the years in terms of their off-camera friendship?
They were friendly, but they weren't friends. Like Summerall and Brookshire were not just friends, they were buddies and drinking buddies. But Madden really didn't like to drink. And when they went to visiting a city to do a game, Summerall liked to have dinner with the executives of one of the teams. And Madden liked to hang out with the broadcast associates, the young guys that Terry O'Neill hired right out of college to learn the business. There was a picture you just showed of one of them, guy in a Mets hat, side by side with John Madden. If you could find that young guy was Richie Zients, who is now Fox's #1 producer. He's produced 8 Super Bowls. That's him. He was the guy who showed Madden around New York and took him to the delis and the pizza joints and the Mexican restaurants. And Madden just loved that. And there was one time they went to Washington, D.C. for a game, and there was a note waiting for Madden when he got there. It was from Ethel Kennedy, the widow of Robert Kennedy, and the former president of his brother was JFK. Ethel Kennedy said, "John, we're big fans. We'd love to have lunch or dinner with you this weekend while you're here in D.C." And Richie Zients and some of the others looked up at him and said, "Are you going to have dinner with Ethel Kennedy?" And he thought for a second, said, "Nah, I'm going to go out and have Mexican food with you guys." And that's who John Madden was. But when they got in the booth, when that red light went on, they were all business. Summerall was never better. Summerall did more homework with John Madden than he ever did in his life. And the subtitle of this book is how they revolutionized NFL broadcasting. And what they really did was they changed the way every team starting then and in the future prepared for a game. It used to be you would go into a city the day before, 2 days before, you get together with the 2 PR guys, and they would tell you the 3 deep roster and who was starting and who was injured and how to pronounce the tough names. and that was it. And Brookshire and Summerall would start with their margaritas, and they wouldn't show up until Sunday morning. But with Madden started taking the train and then the bus to the games. He'd get there early. He started going to practices, and he would get information from the coaches and some of the star players. Well, Terry O'Neill, the new head producer, went to the NFL and said, "We want to make this official. We want permission to have production meetings the day before the game with the coaches and the star players, and we won't reveal anything we learn until during the game." And they gave them permission. So an all new way of getting prepared for the games happened. And after they got that information, Madden and O'Neill would bring the entire crew into his O'Neill's suite Saturday night before the game, and bring dinner in, and they would be on the whiteboard, and Madden would show film, and they would teach the crew what plays to expect, especially the camera guys. If you were having a test and you knew the questions ahead of time, you'd really be ready. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were getting their camera guys ready for all the big plays that were going to happen in the game.
Well, Rich, you mentioned Madden's famous aversion to flying. He he preferred to stay on the ground. Was that the case from the very beginning of his broadcasting career? Was that something that he began to prefer a little bit later on into it? And how did that affect the logistics, if at all, of the broadcast?
Oh boy. I was actually on a plane with him in 1977 for a show called The Superstars. At the end of the season, the four super teams, the Super Bowl and the World Series teams, flew to Hawaii together. And Madden sat on the front row right next to me. But he didn't mind private planes because he could walk around. He didn't feel closed in. He was really claustrophobic and hated flying. And right in the middle of the 1980 season with Gary Bender, he thought he was going to jump out of the plane, and he held it together until he got off the plane, and he turned to Bender and he said, "I'm never going to take another flight again." And Bender said, "But you got to get to Dallas." He said, "I'll find a train." And that's how it was. After that, the CBS talent coordinators had to book trains for him to get to wherever he was going, whatever game it was. And it took quite a while to go cross country, especially if he had to go from California, where he lived, to New York for a Giants game or something like that. So a few years later, he had a chance to get on Dolly Parton's bus for one weekend. They rented it out, and he said, "This is the way to go." And his team found him, the Greyhound people were willing to build him one, as long as he was willing to do a little favors for them and talk to their drivers whatever city he wound up in. So that's how that came about. The bus was the perfect answer for him because it was shorter time to go anywhere. You didn't have to worry about train schedules. And Amtrak, they're not exactly the most reliable when it comes to that. And Madden just loved it, stopping the bus at anywhere he wanted. He had his favorite hole-in-the-wall food stops. And, of course, later on there was the great turducken on Thanksgiving.
Rich, obviously a lot about these guys. You're, talking about, flying with Madden back in the 1970s before anybody ever even thought of John Madden and Pat Summerall being together. But in researching this and in writing it, what did you learn that even a guy, who's been around and goes back to that era and knows all about these guys, what was fun for you to learn in doing the book? And are there any things that stick out for you as stories that you're glad that you unearthed?
Well, I forgot to mention that I was a writer at CBS Sports when Madden came there, and I used to write for the NFL Today, among other shows, and I got to know both guys really well. And as far as stories that I unearthed, I would say they were mostly really interesting things about Pat Summerall, because on the John Madden side, it was all the food stops, how much he loved people. Most famous broadcasters would say hello or wave to somebody and try to avoid signing a bunch of autographs. Madden would go into a lobby of a hotel in Chicago, sit there and talk to everybody all morning long before he had to leave for the game. He was such a curious guy. I loved the story that his sons told me about how he got the Miller Lite commercial. It was first offered to Al Davis, the owner of the Raiders, and Al said, "John just retired, and you're using all these retired guys. Why don't you go to use John?" And the first commercial was that famous one where he bursts through the wall of the bar, and everybody scatters, and John just sidles up to the bartender and says, I want a Miller Lite because it tastes great and it's less filling. Well, so I was asking his sons about that. John said at the dinner table, I don't know, why would I want to do that? I don't even like beer. And I thought that was pretty funny. And his wife chimed in and said, what else you got going for you? You better do it. His wife, Virginia, was a tough cookie, and she still is. So that was pretty good. Another thing that I found out was all the ways that Pat Summerall hid his alcohol on the bus and on the set and at meetings. He used to have a Sprite can that was the guys told me they were pretty sure it was half filled with vodka and maybe a little bit of Sprite. And there was one time they were doing a quick take on the bus for a promo, and Summerall had the Sprite can next to him on the table, and the broadcast associate tried to move it away, and Summerall says, where are you going with that? Give me that. And he said, I'm going to keep it right over here out of camera range. And that's what happened. And Richie Zients, who I mentioned before, who was Fox's lead producer and Tom Brady's producer today, he was pretty sure that the red Solo cup that Summerall had in the booth wasn't just with soda in it. But Summerall never showed it. Summerall was a Renaissance guy. He really could hold his liquor. You had no idea how much he had. It was really amazing. And finally, in 1993, all his friends got together and they had an intervention for him right outside of Philadelphia. Tom Brookshire was the guy who got him to come. And he went to Betty Ford for 33 days, I think it was. And he never had another drink after that. But it really did take its effect. And years later, it caused him to need a liver transplant. And then he also had a horrible brain disease at the end. I was sad to learn about those things about Pat, because Pat was really a great guy to be around. And it was kind of like being with Brookshire, too. Nobody would ever tell Brookshire to put down his drink because he was so much fun. And plus, he probably hit you right through into the next room if you started telling him what to do. But this was really interesting. I wound up talking with Jerry Jones about how he stole the NFC contract from CBS, and it helped him build a fledgling network. CBS's owner wasn't willing to lose money on the contract, and obviously Jerry Jones was building a network, and he didn't care how much he lost. He was going to get Fox to become the fourth network, and that worked. I also loved hearing a lot of details about what happened when they were told what Fox bid on the contract. CBS bid $295 million a year for 1994, and Fox bid over $400 million a year, which came to $1.6 billion plus. And CBS said, "Oh my God, we're never going to touch that," and they didn't. 4 years later, they bought the AFC rights for more than $400 million a year. So it not only cost them, it cost them a lot of affiliates who switched over to Fox, and it cost them dearly all those great NFC cities. But most of all, I enjoyed getting the stories from those who were the young guys in those days, and especially a guy like Richie Zients, who became so close with John Madden. John Madden loved Richie Zients, even though there was probably a 25-year difference in their ages. And he fixed Richie up with his wife, and They in fact got married at John Madden's house, and Madden was the best man. And Richie was the closest to Madden all through the years and one of the last ones to spend time with him. And he was responsible for that great All Madden documentary that Fox did right before John died.
Well, this is all extremely interesting. Let's get the cover of the book up again here. The book is Madden and Summerall: How They Revolutionized NFL Broadcasting. The author of You Are Looking Live, by the way, about the CBS football program, NFL Today, which is a terrific book. And this one promises to be outstanding as well. Just listening to this interview, you can imagine how many great stories there are through this. Rich Podolsky, such a pleasure talking to you today. We appreciate your time and wish you all of the success in the world with this book.
Thanks so much. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sorry I didn't give you more time to talk as well. But I really loved it.
No, it was wonderful.
And I love the book. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Outstanding stuff, my friend. Rich Podolsky, Madden and Summerall: How They Revolutionized NFL Broadcasting. It's out there now, and if you are as much of a fan as I am, by any measure, if you're a fan of Madden and Summerall, you know what interesting men they were, and it's all collected in one place for you in this book. Ronnie T-shirts. Are you with me on the subject of Madden and Summerall, that they're the greatest broadcasting duo, certainly in the history of the NFL?
Absolutely. Like, I mean, Summerall's voice, I mean, when I see highlights of games where he was calling them, it's just so comforting, right? It's just like, I don't know, a nice hot bowl of soup when it's cold outside. Like,
you'd want to get bad news from him. You'd want to get bad news from Pat Summerall or whatever, because he would just be so concise or whatever. He would just be like, herpes, simplex 1. And you just, that doesn't even seem that bad. I'll be okay. I don't know if simplex 1 is the bad one or not, Ron. There are various herpes simplexes.
Rich did say something Rich said something that I thought was kind of funny.
Places.
My friends refer to you as the hairdo guy. When Rich said, I don't want to get on the air. Those are hairdo guys. You're a hairdo guy, Ricky.
A hairdo guy. I don't know. If you would have told me before COVID that I was the hairdo guy, I would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. All right, Ronnie, we are going to go to a break right now, but we've got more things to do. There are boxes that are left unchecked, and one of them, of course, is me asking Ronnie the question that I love to ask him right around this time of the day, and it'll all happen straight ahead, right here, right after this, on The Ricky Cobb Show. And welcome back to the program, my friends, as we come down the stretch drive here on this Wednesday. And Ronnie, today's theme is bowling, and we've still got a few more frames left to go on this show before I get to the question that I'm going to ask you. And here's one for you. One of the best things about going to a bowling alley, Ron, is the food, the concessions. Am I right? It's similar to a ballpark hot dog. I always feel like
serious?
I feel like food in a bowling alley is at least 50% better than it has any right to be.
Oh gosh, it is just hot dogs that have been sitting on a roller and popcorn that's been.
Well, it depends on where you go. Like, the food basket, the French fries served in a bowling alley. Do we have the graphic there for bowling alley French fries?
I mean, you and I definitely have different culinary bars that we're trying to achieve or to reach.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that it's fine dining, Ron.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's fine dining. Yeah. I'm just saying that food in a bowling alley just hits a little. It hits a little better. Like, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
no, I'm just not going to agree with you.
Did you ever watch bowling? Did you ever watch bowling?
Well,
there it is. There it is. Look at that. Right there in that basket.
Yeah.
Look at that. All food tastes 200% better if it's served in one of these red baskets It increases to 400% if you're in a bowling alley. I stand by it, Ron. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying the atmosphere of a bowling alley makes things taste a little better.
All right.
I don't
You
know.
asked if I
We'll
watch
have to have-
bowling. Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, did you ever watch bowling on ABC?
So
In the
two
day,
things.
Chris Schenkel and
Flipping
Nelson
through,
Burton Jr.
if I saw somebody who was about to hit get a 300 or something big, I'd stop because I always like to see excellence. But I don't know if you remember this. This is a bridge from yesterday's theme to today's theme. So yesterday was game shows. Today is bowling. Do you remember a show called Bowling for Dollars?
I am aware of a show called Bowling for Dollars, but I think it kind of predates.
Yeah, it was a game.
Either
You
it
should
wasn't
look it up on.
available in my area or it predates me.
Yeah, but they'd have regular people bowling for prizes, and it was just this whole kind of game show atmosphere, and it just kind of made me think about with our two themes back to back.
I used to like to tune in Chris Schenkel on the weekends on ABC and, just relax and watch a little bowling. I had tweeted about it the other day. I don't even know, but the bottom line is if I go bowling about once or twice a year, if I can get like 2 strikes in a row at some point, I'm like Big Ern McCracken in Kingpin. Remember Big Ern? His hair's going everywhere. He's celebrating. That's me. If I can, if I bowl like a 140, I basically feel like Pete Weber after he won the U.S. Open. Who do you think you are? I am. I am. That's it. Look at that. That's me right there. That's me right there. I've got 2 strikes in a row. I'm bowling like I've got like a 98 after 7 frames, but I can feel the momentum gathering, Ron. It's very satisfying. You've got to set realistic goals when you're a terrible bowler, and I like to think that I do that. Ron, my goal right now is to look at you, tilt my head slightly, pray for the best, and ask you simply, what the fuck, Ron?
Ricky, do you remember Haley Sawyer?
I sure do. The fine voter in college football polls there. Yeah, she's among the best, Ronnie.
Yeah, well,
what has she done now?
She hasn't done anything, but they're at it again, and there, I mean, voters on the AP college football poll. So we've got 3 voters: Brenna Green, Mason Young, and Jamal St. Cyr. They all voted South Carolina in the poll and did not include Vandy at all. Do you know that Vandy absolutely curb stomped South Carolina in Columbia this weekend, 31-7? So in addition to that, Brenna Green moved South Carolina up from 11-10. So it's just kind of getting out of hand with these voters.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't know.
Honestly, like I used to think when I was a kid, I thought that this was like one of the most honorable positions that you could hold.
Yeah.
I basically thought that you were like a modern founding father if you had a vote in the fucking AP top 20.
Like you had to pass tests, you had to go in front of a review board.
Yes.
Like you were.
You had to be a scholar.
Yes.
You had to know your shit. And who are these people that they're pulling off the, like, who are they? Who is Brenna Green?
Now, to Brenna Green, she's out of Portland. Now, to her credit, and I'm going to give her a tiny bit of credit, instead of doing that dumb, weird video that Haley Sawyer did, where she was just laughing and making light of the whole situation, Brenna at least said, hey, I'm going on no sleep. I've been working. I made a massive mistake. I realized it right after I hit submit. I own it. I screwed up. I'm glad she at least handled it that way, but that's still not acceptable. Like, this is important to so many people, including the colleges. Like, this is how they like to post, hey, we're number 24 in the AP poll. It's a big deal to a lot of schools. The Alabamas and the Georgias and the Ohio States, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, we're always in the top 5. It doesn't matter. But to some of these schools, man, it's a huge deal. And the fact that Vandy wasn't on 3 people's top 25 come on, man. That's crazy. So thank you, Brenna, for apologizing and owning it. But girl, you have to do better. This is serious. If you like sports, it's serious.
I'll give her credit. I'll give her credit for that. But, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who could vote on this, who live this shit, right?
Yes.
Think about how many people in this country eat, breathe, and sleep college football. You got to get those people voting in the polls, right? I mean, absolutely you could. And you would take it seriously.
Yeah.
As well.
And just there was another guy, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. They kept Clemson in, who's 1-2, and left Georgia Tech out. Georgia Tech just beat Clemson and they're 3-0. So something has to be done. People have to be held accountable for this, or get your vote taken away.
Since when have we known the individual votes? Like back in the day, I don't think we knew what individual people were doing.
I don't know. I mean, it's been quite a while that they've published what people vote. It's been a while.
I don't think that was a thing.
Yeah.
Back when I was growing up, I don't ever remember there being any controversy about.
They need to be held accountable. Listen, I know it's not serious. I know it's not saving lives, but it's important to who it's important to.
It's not the end of the world. Well, anything that's worth doing that people care about is worth trying to do well. So I don't think it's asking too much without making too much of it. Let's go to poll replies, Ron.
Yeah.
See what folks are saying about another runaway today in today's poll of the day. It's a blowout, man. Spencer's Gifts. Juan Lada says, nice. I still voted for Nerf. I must have gone through a dozen in my childhood. See, going through a dozen is kind of the argument against them. I would argue. Football Helmet Guy says, Nerf football, but the poster and adult section at Spencer's Gifts was a must stop during mall hangouts with your friends. And ain't that the truth? Spencer's Gifts, there's a lot of people that have affectionate memories of Spencer's Gifts. Let's put it that way. They may not have voted for Spencer's Gifts. Mech Kong says Nerf football should be a first ballot inductee into the Greatest Inventions Hall of Fame, invented by, Ron, got a little trivia for you. Nerf football invented by Fred Cox, the kicker, back in the 1960s and 70s for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, he just passed away recently, right?
Yeah, Fred Cox is the guy. Jay says there's no school like the old school, and here's the headmaster. Man, that's the version of the Nerf football that I remember. And then there would be some that would be half one color, half another color. Oh my God, look at this. This is the modern Nerf football. Obviously, we talked about Mahomes and Brady earlier in the show. If you were playing with this, apparently the greatest of all time, actually Dylan in Nashville. Ron, just airing it out like Dan Marino.
Oh, those things you can throw a mile.
See, we didn't have that. That had a little heft to it.
Yep.
You get a little heft, and then you can turn it loose and let it go. But the turbo football came out like late 80s, I think it was. And the turbo football was like strapping a rocket booster on the back of a regular.
That's the one that had the little tail in the end, right?
It didn't have a tail. No, it's not the one that was like
what was that? What was that one?
Military grade weapon. Yeah, there you go. You head to Spencer's later, you get the tail, you stick it in there, and you can retrofit it at home, Ronnie. All right, we are pulling into the station here right now. My thanks to you, as always, Ronnie. My thanks to Dylan and Adam in Nashville today. My thanks as well to PA Jared, and most of all to you, my friends, because without you, there's no show. And I love you, sweet bastards. You can find us, as always, at outkick.com, on YouTube, Fox Nation. The new YouTube channel is The Ricky Cobb Show. Head over and find it there. We're in podcast form on both Apple and Spotify. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as well as X, where you can also find me because I'm the Super 70s sports guy. Pay me a visit, won't you? And most importantly, let's make a deal that we'll meet right back here again tomorrow when we will tee it high and let it fly with another episode of The Ricky Cobb Show.